Family is complicated, but sometimes, even through years of tension, hope and love can break through the cracks. That's the beauty of what we're witnessing now with Prince Harry, his father King Charles, and the next generation, Archie and Lilibet. For too long, tabloid drama and royal politics have tried to overshadow the reality. This is about a grandfather longing to reconnect with his grandchildren and a son working hard to reset his relationship with his father. So let's unpack this story in detail, because there's a lot more to it than the headlines. According to reports, King Charles has been tipped to reunite with Archie and Lilibet following his private meeting with Prince Harry this week at Clarence House. And let's just pause there. Clarence House, the King's official London residence, was the very place where Harry and his father sat down for tea. Privately, quietly, away from the cameras, away from the noise. This wasn't some performative handshake for the press. This was a father and son taking a first step toward healing. And that matters. Now, the last time King Charles saw his youngest grandchildren was back in February 2022, during the late Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee. At the time, Archie was 3. Little Lilibet had just turned 1, and they were still so young that the memories they created with their grandfather may be fuzzy to them now. That's what makes this moment so important. Archie is now 6 years old. Lilibet is 4. They're at ages where they're growing into their personalities, forming long-term memories and starting to ask questions about family. Imagine how meaningful it would be for them to spend real, loving time with their grandfather, away from the negativity, away from the noise. And let's be honest here. King Charles, for all the criticisms he faces in the press, has always shown that he has a soft spot for Harry and, by extension, for Meghan and their children. Remember, he walked Meghan down the aisle when her own father failed her. That wasn't just symbolic. That was Charles stepping in as a protector and supporter of Meghan at a pivotal moment. And yet, despite that, Meghan and Harry have been relentlessly attacked in the British tabloids, with the press painting her as the reason for every single issue in the monarchy. But let's face facts. Charles knows his son and daughter-in-law are not the villains in this story. He knows Harry is a devoted husband and father, and he knows Meghan has stood by Harry when the entire institution turned its back on him. That strength deserves respect, not the constant smear campaigns we see splashed across the front pages. Now, this recent tea at Clarence House is already being described as a turning point. Harry himself said afterward that his father was great. That's not a throwaway comment. That's a son feeling genuine relief that things went well. And let me tell you, when Harry feels that glimmer of hope, the entire world pays attention. Some so-called sources are already trying to spin this meeting, saying Harry regrets some of his actions, or that he's desperate to win back the UK public. That's the nonsense the tabloids want you to believe. The truth is, Harry has nothing to regret when it comes to protecting his wife and children. He saw what the media machine did to his mother. He recognised the same cruelty being directed at Meghan. And he did what any good husband and father would do. He removed his family from a toxic environment and built a new life for them. That was not abandonment, that was courage, that was leadership, that was love. What we're seeing now is not regret, it's maturity. It's Harry finding a way to balance protecting his family with maintaining some kind of relationship with his father. And let's not ignore this. Security remains the biggest obstacle. Harry has made it clear his children are not bargaining chips, and he won't expose them to danger. If Archie and Lilibet are to visit the UK, it will be under safe, secure conditions. That's why Balmoral or Sandringham are being suggested. These are royal residences with established security perimeters, safe enough for the Sussex children to play, laugh and spend time with their grandfather without fear of intrusion. And let's just think about what that would look like. Imagine Archie running across the Scottish countryside at Balmoral, or Lilibet picking flowers in the gardens at Sandringham, with their grandfather Charles walking alongside them. Imagine them being able to experience that connection to family heritage, not through the cold lens of tabloid lies, but through actual moments of joy. That's the kind of imagery the British media never talks about, because it doesn't fit their narrative of division. But it's possible. We also need to address something important. Reconciliation does not mean submission. Harry isn't crawling back. He isn't begging to be accepted. He is setting boundaries. He is demanding respect for his wife and children. And he is creating a new kind of relationship with his family on his terms. And that terrifies his detractors because, once again, it proves that Harry is in control of his story. Now, the tabloids want to frame this as Harry needing to earn back trust from the royals. Please, let's flip that narrative. Who broke Harry's trust in the first place? Who leaked against him and Meghan? Who refused to protect them from racist and sexist attacks in the press? Trust is a two-way street, and if anything, it's the institution that needs to earn back Harry and Meghan's trust, not the other way around. And yet, despite all of that, Harry still shows grace. He still takes steps toward reconciliation, not for headlines, but for his children. He knows Archie and Lilibet deserve to know their grandfather, and he knows King Charles deserves to know his grandchildren. That is what true leadership looks like. Harry is not driven by bitterness. He is driven by love. Let's also not forget Meghan's role here. While she may not have been at Clarence House physically, her presence is always there with Harry. She is the steady hand, the one who encourages him to heal without losing himself. Meghan has been vilified by the same press that claims to love the royals, but in truth, she has been the glue holding her family together. Without her strength, Harry might never have had the courage to face his father and begin this new chapter. And let's be real, the British tabloids are already bracing themselves for this potential reunion between Charles, Archie and Lilibet. Why? Because it destroys their favourite narrative. They want Harry and Meghan to remain outsiders, permanently exiled, forever painted as villains. But when those beautiful photographs eventually surface, when Archie and Lilibet are seen smiling with their grandfather, all of that collapses. The world will see the truth. This isn't a broken family. This is a family finding its way back together, despite the vultures circling overhead. So yes, there's still a long way to go. There are still obstacles, especially around trust and security. But the most important thing is that the first step has been taken. Tea at Clarence House wasn't just tea. It was a statement. It was a father and son deciding that enough is enough, that the bitterness of the past cannot outweigh the hope for the future. And with that step comes the possibility of something beautiful. Archie and Lilibet reunited with their grandfather. And that's the story the tabloids don't want you to focus on. They'd rather keep stirring up division, painting Harry as desperate or Meghan as manipulative. But here at Royal Sussex Squad we know the truth. We see Harry and Meghan for who they are, two people building a life based on love, courage and resilience. And no matter how loud the critics shout, love will always win. So Squad, what do you think? Could we see Archie and Lilibet at Balmoral or Sandringham next year? Do you think this tea at Clarence House marks the real beginning of healing for Harry and Charles? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear from you. King Charles tipped to reunite with grandchildren Archie and Lilibet after meeting with Prince Harry. The King last met his grandchildren at the late Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee in February 2022. King Charles has been tipped to reunite with his grandchildren, Prince Archie VI and Princess Lilibet IV, following his meeting with Prince Harry on Wednesday. The estranged father and son met for a private tea at Clarence House for the first time in over a year and a half, Buckingham Palace later confirmed. Charles and Harry last met in February 2024, just days after Buckingham Palace announced that the monarch was undergoing cancer treatment. However, the King last met his young grandchildren over 3 years ago when they travelled to attend the late Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee in February 2022. King Charles tipped to reunite with grandchildren Archie and Lilibet following his meeting with Prince Harry, vertical bar Getty. Archie and Lilibet would have been 3 and 1 respectively when Charles last met them. Following Wednesday's meeting, a royal source has now suggested the young Sussexes could be reunited with their grandfather at Balmoral or Sandringham next year. If the current trends towards reconciliation continue. To that end, the insider suggested reconnecting with the Archie and Lilibet has been one of the driving forces behind King Charles's attempts to reconcile with Harry. The king wants to be a grandfather to his grandchildren, so that's an important pull, they said. Archie and Lilibet last met their grandfather over 3 years ago, vertical bar Instagram at Meghan. He was so pleased when they came over for Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee, and he was able to spend some time with them, the source informed. His Majesty's reunion with his youngest son appears to have been a major step in the direction of rapprochement, with Harry exclaiming "father was great" following the Clarence House meeting. It's become clear that Harry now regrets some of his actions. He wants to reset his relationship with his family and with the people of the UK, the insider told the Daily Mail. The source cautioned it would be hard to see him ever coming back to live in Britain, but tempered the warning by adding that this may be the start of something that at least allows them to be a functioning, wider family again. The King's meeting with his eldest son was described as the first step in building a functioning, wider family again, vertical bar. Getty security remains a key concern for the Duke of Sussex, which the source said presented all sorts of obstacles to such a meeting. However, the insider believed a compromise may be found if Archie and Lilibet were to meet Charles at one of the royal family's secure country homes. But maybe there is a way of getting them over to Balmoral or Sandringham next year, or another royal residence where they are within the security perimeter, the source explained. Regarding Harry himself, another source has said Wednesday's meeting was an important first step towards rebuilding their father and son relationship. There's a long way to go before Harry can earn his family's trust, but he's given some assurances, the insider continued. These assurances included a private promise made to King Charles during the accord. As the Duke prepares to leave the UK, his spokesman has said he loved being back in the UK. And before you go, don't forget to support this channel. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so you never miss an update. And if you love the work we're doing here, consider donating through Super Thanks. Your support keeps Royal Sussex Squad going strong, defending Harry and Meghan against the lies and celebrating their truth. Until next time, stay strong, stay positive, and remember, love always wins.